All right. So if you saw on the screen, we're going to need a strap tonight for the class and potentially 2 blocks to help with some hamstring stretches. And then if you don't have blocks and you're using something like a water bottle or a can of soup or something like that for a prop, in a shoulder stretch that we were going to do on the ground, you might want something like a thick book that you can rest your elbows on, and that's just going to increase the sensation of the stretch, but you can also do that on your mat. So if you don't have a block or a thick book nearby, that's totally fine as well. Okay. And then to get started, come to just a comfortable seat. You can be sitting up on a block, blanket, a pillow that you have around your house. And wherever you find yourself sitting, just start to close your eyes. Start to tune out some of those influences, some of those distractions. Make sure that you're sitting up nice and tall. Start to become a little bit more aware of your breath. So in addition to working on our physical body today in the asana practice, I also want us to contemplate with our mind kosha. So there's kind of 3 koshas: the mind, the body, and then the breath that you really have control over. So with the mind, I'd like you to think about what mindfulness means to you. What comes up? Maybe it's a rather abstract concept or a catchword, right? Hashtag. Or potentially it's something that you've been consciously trying to do. I did a CEU today, continuing education credit, and they were talking about the workplace environment. And they're a Finnish company. And so these moments of pause that the culture has, and I can't remember the cool name that it was like Finnikin Phonic or something like that. But it's that concept of pausing, getting away from your computer, getting away from your screen, getting away from intense work, and just finding a moment, usually about 15-minute break in your day. And those little breaks are the same thing as becoming mindful of what you're doing. You know, and sometimes it takes getting out of a rhythm, you know, the monotony of your day-to-day, and hitting pause to really then start to gain awareness and then return to that work or return to that task that you're doing with a new curiosity, with a new vigor. So now as you sit here, hold your attention on your breath. Don't try and change it or manipulate it just yet. Just notice how deep or how shallow your breath is, whether or not it's labored. Notice if there's a smell, a scent that gets carried into your body as you inhale. Perhaps you lit a candle or have some essential oils with you tonight. Now start to move your awareness onto your skin, the biggest organ of your body. What is the temperature of the room that you're in? Is there a slight breeze? Notice in these moments of silence if you already are starting to drift off, and that's okay. Come back to your breath. Come back to what you smell. Come back to what you feel on your skin. And then start to gain a little bit more depth into where your body is sore or tight. The areas of your body that are touching the ground. And then wherever your body is touching the ground, so depending on what style of seat you took, start to press that area into the ground and see if you can straighten and lift your spine. Draw your shoulders slightly back. Draw your ears slightly back so they stack over your spine so that you give yourself optimum room in your core. And now from this structure, start to deepen your breath. If your breathing has been in and out through your mouth, then gently seal your lips. And if you need to, grab a tissue so that you can clear your airways. And deepen your breath in and out through both nostrils. A lot of times I notice that I really have to focus on pressing all of the air out. I want to stop my exhale about a third of the way short. There's almost a bottom layer of air that just stays in your lungs or in my lungs. So notice if that's your tendency as well, if you cut your exhale off without getting every last drop of air out. Move your hands to your side ribs. Start to experience your breath internally and then externally as it expands your ribs into your hands. Again, if your mind wandered, come back to breath. Come back to physical sensations of the breath in your body. Come back to the physical sensations of the air on your skin. Come back to the physical sensations of those smells in your nose. And finally, bring your hands together at heart center. Let your thumbs gently rest on your sternum. Press each finger pad into the opposite. So this mudra or hand placement with your thumb resting on your sternum lets you really ground. You feel that balance of both left and right side coming together right down midline. Andale Mudra or Samastitihi. Now feeling your chest rise and lower. Take 2 more deep breaths here. One more inhale. And exhale. Slowly release your hands down. If you were sitting on anything, move it out to the side. And then come to lie down on your mat. We're going to start our physical sensations in the body by opening up our shoulders. So you're going to extend your right arm out and you need to move any of your fun props out of the way. Right hand out, palm open up wide. And you want to make sure that it's perpendicular to your body. From there, you're going to look away from your right palm. Rest your right ear on the mat. And then with your left hand, it's going to come right in by your chest. So looking away from the extended hand, you'll start to roll onto the right side body. You can keep your legs extended or take the top leg and set it behind you. So sometimes we do this in tree pose. Tonight, I want you to keep both legs straight. So you start to open up the psoas, the front of your left hip. Keep pressing your left palm into the mat. Relax your head down even more, especially if you wanted to crank your head up to look what's going on the screen. Don't worry about it. Relax your neck down so that your whole spine is a long line. Keep pressing your right palm down into the mat. Take another breath in. And as you exhale, slowly roll back onto your belly. Bring your right hand in underneath your right shoulder. Extend your left arm out, palm down. And then gaze away from your left hand. Bring your ear down to the mat. Press your right hand into the mat to roll over onto your left side. Take this top right leg and let it drop back behind you, like you're scissoring your leg. Feel an opening across the top hip. Keep pressing your palm into the ground. Both palms are flat. And then the more that you work that right hand down, the deeper the stretch across the front of your left shoulder. And notice if you started to lift your head up, engaging the muscles of your neck. See if you can let your head stay heavy. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, roll back to center. All right. With your chin in the middle of the mat, lift your gaze up and press the top of your feet down. Sweep both hands beside you, thumbs down, pinkies up. And now lift your head up, move your gaze down so that your spine is still nice and long and you're not creating like a 90-degree bend right at your neck. And then start to engage your legs. Bring your feet up to hover. You feel your glutes turn on as you lift your leg, and then engage your core. Draw your shoulder heads up and start to lift your chest. Reach your fingertips back towards your toes. Salamabhasana. Feel your triceps turn on. See if you can stretch your toes even farther back, and then start reaching with the crown of your head forward, as though you could pull your body to get just an inch taller. Bring your hands in underneath your shoulders, press your hands down into the mat, and then start to lift your chest up. Press the top of your feet down, take a cobra pose, Bhujangasana. Grip your palms down and pull your chest through. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, lower your chest down, gaze at the mat, and tuck your toes. Either keeping your knees down or lifting your knees up will press up into a plank. So always an option to keep your knees down, come up, and then lift your knees second. Take a breath here in your plank. Again, lengthen the crown of your head forward so you feel your heels rocking over your toes. Draw your navel up and in. And then exhale, bend your knees, let them hover right over the mat. It's kind of dark with the shadows in there. So trust me, they're hovering. Try not to let them touch. Keep pressing your palms into the mat. Lift your hips high. Then gaze back towards your toes. So you make sure they're still hovering over the mat, and then begin to straighten your legs. Now, once you get to about 90% straight, pause. Spread your fingers, press them, straighten your arms.
Don't lock them out, but just moving again towards about 95% straight. Dangle your head down, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Inhale, and as you exhale, maybe relax your heels a little bit more towards the mat. Inhale, press to your palm. See if you can walk your hips a little bit higher up, really focusing on that hip point being the highest point towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, relax your neck. Keep that gentle bend in your knees. One more time, inhale. Press your palms in, lift your hips high. Exhale, bring your knees down wide. Big toes together to touch. Start to reach your hips back. Now, if you, as you come back into child's pose, feel a rounding in your back, like your mid-back is really the highest point, then don't come all the way back over your heels. Instead, focus on keeping your spine long. So you might not be able to get your hips all the way down to rest on your legs, but your torso will feel long. Potentially, you're able to get your ribs down in between your thighs and make sure your legs are wide enough on the mat to do that. Keep gripping your palms into the mat, eventually forehead down. Take a deep breath in and out. One more time, inhale and exhale. As you inhale, gaze forward, slither forward all the way back onto your belly, feet wide, hands wide, and then move your feet back hip-width distance apart. Press the tops of your feet down and then swim your arms around. You can either keep palms on either side of your hip, or maybe this time interlace your hands. Take the opposite one that you went to first. So opposite pinky on top, press your palms together, gaze down at the mat, inhale, shoulder heads up, reach your knuckles back. Engage your legs, start to hover your feet off the mat. Press your core into the mat, reach the crown of your head. Take an inhale. Exhale, keep your legs lifted, just hands come to hover. Press the tops of your feet down, inhale, press up, cobra pose, as high as feels good. So it can be a really short one, it can be a really high one. Inhale, exhale, lower down just to hover, tuck your toes. Inhale, press up, plank. Hold your plank, reach the crown of your head forward. Rock your heels over your toes, take an inhale. Exhale, keep spreading your palms. Draw your navel in, inhale. Exhale, bend your knees to hover. Start to reach your hips back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, start to bring your legs towards straight. Lifting your heels high, lifting your hips high. Exhale, press through your hands, relax your heels down. 3 breaths, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale through your nose. See if you can make them those deep, full breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Where are you feeling this pose? Where are you a little tight? Take a breath into that spot. Exhale, knees wide, big toes together to touch. Start to reach your hips down. Inhale, stretch. Maybe even walk your hands forward. Lengthen your torso as long as it'll go. Exhale, bring your forehead down to the mat. Relax, melt. One more breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Again, inhale, rock forward, come all the way onto your belly, legs wide. And then press your palms slightly, bring your legs in hip-width distance. Reach your arms around, interlace your palms. Inhale, lift shoulder heads up, pull your knuckles back. Keep your gaze down at your mat or on your floor. Inhale, lift your legs to hover. Start to strengthen your legs, reach your toes back. Pull your shoulders together on your back and reach them down towards your glutes. Inhale, press your core into the mat. Exhale, bring your hands to hover right under your shoulders. Press your feet down, inhale, rise up, Bhujangasana Cobra. Notice if you're just pushing yourself up or if there's a forward motion of chest through. So you wanna see if you can open your shoulder blades or open your collarbones rather, close your shoulder blades on your back. Exhale, lower down halfway, tuck your toes, activate your legs. Inhale, press up, plank. Exhale, hold your plank. Draw your navel in. If your hips are high, lower them down just slightly. Reach the crown of your head forward, even rock the weight a little bit more forward so you feel it in your fingertips and the heels of your hands. Take a breath in. Exhale, begin to bend your knees. Start to reach your hips back. Like you're a crouching tiger, ready to pounce. Inhale and exhale. Release your gaze back. Inhale, start to straighten your legs to that 95%. Make sure your feet are hip width distance apart. Exhale, release your head. Let it hang. Let it sway between your biceps. Inhale, press your palms into the mat. Exhale, bring your knees down wide, big toes together to touch. Inhale, straighten your spine, get it nice and long. And then exhale, forehead down. Take a breath in. And take a breath out. Or inhale. And exhale. Then inhale, come up to all fours. And this is where you might want to pull in your blocks, your thick encyclopedia or Harry Potter collection. Or if you don't have a prop, you can also do this just on your mat. Bring your knees back together, hip width distance apart. So there's a little gap. And then elbows down onto your blocks. Bring your palms back together. Samasthiti here, Anjali Mudra. Press your finger pads into the opposite. And then walk your hips back. Start to relax your head down. And then through your biceps. Palms still together. So again, if you're not doing this with any props, your elbows are just down on the mat or head down. You'll start with your fingertips up towards the ceiling. Keep pulling your hips back. So you want your knees and your hips to stack. And then anchoring your lower body, your legs, your hips, begin to bring your thumbs towards the middle of your back. Right to that vertebra at the top of your spine where lumbar meets the 7 vertebrae that become your neck. So right at the base of your neck. Nice. And then melt your heart down. Yeah. Relax your head so that it becomes a weight so that you feel your forehead tapping down on your mat. Close your eyes. Feel your heart melting, your chest opening. And then reflect back on that cycle of movement. The last 10 minutes of being fully in your physical body, right? That was what your task was. And notice, was your practice mindful?
Were you fully present? Did your mind wander off? Did it start to tumble away from your physical body? Did you move to the best of your ability with the most acute awareness of your body in space? So when you practice mindfulness on your mat, the placement of each hand, each finger pad, how wholly consumed you can be with breath, body, thought, movement. You start to take away all those distractions and focus, narrow like a beam of light. And so when we're able to start to practice that, and maybe you get it for a second, and it's kind of like when you first try a handstand or something, it's just like there's a second of hang time. It's like, whoa, what is that? So when you start to feel that balance, that alignment, is when we allow our body to actually restore its energy. We're pulling everything in towards midline, samastitihi. Take another breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Start to release your thumbs from your upper back. Straighten your arms out. Begin to crawl your hands back under your shoulders, and then if you are using a prop, just move it out to the side. If you have two props, have them frame the front of the mat, and then eventually we'll need this strap, so you can just set it off to the side. Coming into all fours, tuck your toes, lift up into plank, and again, find your downward facing dog. Take a breath in. And take a breath out. Relax your head one more time. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, start to lift your left leg high. And then exhale, step your left leg forward into a lunge by your left thumb. Keep pressing both finger pads down into the mat and stretch your chest forward. Doing a nice opening on your right psoas. Whew. And then gazing back at your right leg. So that's the back leg. You're going to step it in one footprint and ground the heel down at a 45 degrees. Now starting to feel a stretch on the back of your calf. Press actively through that right foot. Keep your gaze drawing forward. Start to reach your hands forward and then up. Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. Now for some people, this back leg placement of heel grounded at an angle can feel not so great on your knee. So you can always lift that back leg into a high lunge. And in fact, a high lunge is actually a Virabhadrasana 1 prep. So either leg grounded or leg lifted. Take an inhale and gaze forward. Draw your left knee forward over your left ankle. See if you can direct this right hip towards the front. Know that it might not ever totally square forward. So that's going to have a lot to do with your hip mobility tonight. Breath in. Exhale, bring your hands back behind you, interlace your palms. And again, press your palms together, open your chest. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, come down forward. So you want your left shoulder to come down inside of your left knee. Relax your gaze down the length of your body to that back foot, either lifted or grounded. And then start to lift your fingers off of your low back. Draw your navel in. See how long you can get. Take a breath in.
Exhale, bring your hands down and place them to the inside of your left foot. So now you got the support of your hands. You're gonna walk your hands a little bit over to the right side. Look at that back leg and start to spin it up. Walk your hands even more over to the right side, Skandasana. So the left knee is bent. You want your left elbow to the inside of that left leg. Now, if your Skandasana is not this low, it might look like this. I want you to actively ground that back heel down, toes up towards the ceiling. Inhale, straighten both legs. Lift the left heel or toes up. Press the right foot down, a little bit out to the side, and come down, Skandasana, to the back. So lengthening out that front left leg now. Inhale, come to center. Exhale to the front of your mat. Inhale, center. Exhale to the back of your mat. Yeah, nice. Inhale, center. Exhale, back to the front. Then you're gonna walk your hands, frame your left foot. Ground your right foot down and pivot now on the ball of your foot. So you're in a lunge, both hands are framing your left foot. Walk your left foot across your mat and come down into one leg pigeon pose. So bringing the right knee down, the left knee down behind the left wrist, and the left toes behind the right wrist. Walk your right leg back. Gaze down, make sure it's directly in line with your right hip. So we're in pigeon pose. You can always take a block or a prop support underneath your left glute if that feels good. And then slowly lower down either to forearms or lengthen your torso all the way down to the mat. This is our first big opener on the outside of your hips. So you might not get all the way flat if that's where you usually go. Take a couple breaths here. Feeling all of the sensations in your body. And in pigeon, I find that it's really hard to let your mind wander because the physical act of being in this pose is quite consuming. I like to call it an awkward hug, where it kind of feels good and you also just want to know when it's going to end. So in this position, how can you be mindful? Well, you're already focused on where you are in space, what your body is feeling. Now notice if your breath got shallow, if it got ragged. See if you can take 2 more breaths with the same smoothness and ease as you did in sitting. One more time, inhale. And exhale. Easy release of air. Walk your hands back under your shoulders. A little bit different than you might usually exit this. I want you to lift your right knee up and then slip your left leg back. Lower all the way down to your belly. Take your right hand in front of you and then bring it at a 45. So you propped yourself up. Bend your left knee. So the same leg that was forward, and now reach back with your left hand. One leg bow pose. So you're gonna kick your left leg into your left palm and press your right palm into the mat. Engage your core, take a breath in and a breath out. And we're inhale. Exhale, slowly release your left leg down. Bring both hands down to the mat, tuck your toes. Inhale, press up, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, walk yourself forward to Uttanasana, forward fold. Hang down in your forward fold, grab opposite elbows. Then release your hands and inhale. Slowly come all the way up to standing. All right. So same leg. You're going to ground down through your right foot. I'm going to mirror you. Lift your left knee up. Reach down with your left hand. Grab that foot. Coming into tree pose, Vrksasana. You're going to bring that foot to the inside of your thigh. Skip your knee, inside of your calf, or inside of your ankle. So anywhere down the leg without the knee. And then with your standing leg, take a gentle bend, engage your quad, and then really press your foot into the inside of your thigh. Bring your hands to your hip, find that opening of your hip. So this is a lot like the movement we find in Skandasana. The opening or abduction of the hips. And then pigeon pose is opposite, closing adduction. Breath in. And a breath out. And more inhale, maybe reach your arms up if your balance is feeling pretty great tonight. And if it's not feeling great and you have a wall or something behind you or beside you, feel free to take whatever modifications help. Slowly close your left knee, bring it back down and wide. Take some little hip circles. Roll it out. Feel that femur head rolling in your hip socket. Reverse the rotation. All right, and then bring your feet together in front of your mat. Inhale, reach your arms up. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold, plant your hands, step back to plank. You want to, you can take a vinyasa, or you can press straight back to downward facing dog. So if you'd like to, inhale, come forward, exhale, lower down halfway or all the way. Inhale, upward facing dog, Urdhva Mukha, Svanasana, or cobra. And then exhale, downward facing dog. All right, pausing here in your down dog. Press your palms down. Lift your hips high. Make sure your head is relaxed and your gaze is back towards your feet. Relaxing the muscles of your neck, keeping your arms engaged, your side bodies long. All right, so that was maybe a very untraditional flow of poses, right? It kept you thinking, it kept you hopefully engaged. What is coming next? What is this lady thinking? Unique sensations maybe in the body. And so notice back to that flow. If you wandered off to your to-do list, or if you were able to really focus on where to place your legs, what was coming next? What did you need to prepare for? How did you feel in your body and where are you breathing? Were you able to get that little snippet, that sensation of focused energy, that beam of awareness? All right. Then we'll move on to the next side. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, step your right foot forward, and then hopefully I remember the sequence. All right, keep your left heel lifted, finger pads pressing into the mat, reach your chest forward, like a dart of a lunge pose, really moving forward. Inhale, exhale, gaze back at your left leg now, your back left leg, step it forward one footprint, a little bit out maybe to the left side, and then ground the heel down. Now, if you know that the other option felt better on the other side of the heel lifted, then move into that variation. Keep your right knee stacked over your right ankle, start to reach your fingertips forward, engage your core. Inhale, come up, Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. So last week we focused a lot on the low back and how to engage your core to support, lengthen your spine without
collapsing into your back. So Virabhadrasana 1 is a pose where you can start to really get loose in your upper body. And like, yeah, I'm doing it. But you're compromising your low back. So notice if you have a little bit of that going on. So if you can engage your core, draw it in, bring your right knee a little bit more forward, and then really activate your back left leg. Notice how that shifts the weight forward. Inhale, draw your arms up, take a breath in. And then as you exhale, release your hands down. And then again, take the opposite interlace. So the opposite pinky is on top. Press your palms together. Inhale, open your chest. Try and keep your core engaged. And then exhale, lengthen forward. So really press with that back foot to come forward. Don't rest your torso on the front knee. Instead, let your shoulders slip just to the inside. Relax your neck. So your gaze is down at the back leg. And again, come forward into that front knee. Maybe start to lift your palms up off your low back. Take a breath in. And exhale. Relax your neck. Inhale. Pull your hands together. Exhale, release your hands down and bring them to the inside of your right foot. So I'm going to switch sides of the mat so I can face you. Start to walk your hands over to the left. Bring your back left foot down. And then ground the heel down. Begin to bend more into the right knee. Now I like to use my right tricep to open that knee up like Malasana, half Malasana. We're into Skandasana, extending out that leg. Whew. Inhale, come through center. Exhale to the back. And again, it can be a very low movement. Maybe it's up high. The peak of your inhale is the peak of your transition, front to back. Now one more time. And then when you get to the front of your mat, walk your hands to frame your right foot. Lift the left heel up. So you're back in that high lunge. Heel toe your right foot across so that the outside edge of your foot presses down into the mat behind your left wrist. Knee behind your right wrist. And then lower your left knee down. So we're going back into one leg pigeon pose on the other side. Gaze down your left leg, maybe walk it back, lengthen it out. And if you use that prop, place it behind your right glute, right at the head of your hamstring to support that leg. Take a breath in and then exhale. Maybe walk your hands forward, maybe come down to forearms. Maybe get yourself all the way down. Using your breath to ease yourself into that transition down. It really depends on you. If it feels better to keep your back toes tucked, that'll support your knee a little bit more, or laying and pressing even the top of your foot into the mat. And then as we find this moment of stillness, of intense sensation, come back to your breath. See if it got shallow. See if you can hold, pin your attention onto how deep, how full, how even your breath can be. See if you can pin your awareness on where you feel the pose most in your body.
And then start to link where you feel that physical sensation with where you inflate your breath. So potentially the outside of your hip, maybe the back, where your femur connects into your hip socket. And take another 2 smooth, full breaths there. Noticing if there's any edges, seeing if you can use your breath to smooth it out. Like sandpaper over a rough surface. And exhale. One more time, inhale. And exhale. And inhale, start to bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. And then tuck your back toes. Lift your back knee up. And then straighten out your right leg. Whew. Exhale, lower all the way down to the mat. Prop yourself up on your forearms. And then take your left forearm and bring it across midline. So it's like about a 45. Both legs are extended back behind you. Begin to bend your right knee. Reach back with your right hand. Capture that ankle. And then begin to kick your right foot into your right hand. So a little bit of a quad stretch, but also a nice opening in your shoulder. Very similar to when we were laying on the ground at the very beginning. Keep lengthening your left leg. Press your left foot into the mat. Press your right foot into your hand. Take another breath in. And then exhale, slow release. Bring both hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale, press up and through cobra. And then exhale, lower halfway, tuck your toes. Press up, plank, and then exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath in. And then exhale all the air out. Walk yourself to the front of your mat. Uttanasana, forward fold. Grab opposite elbows. Take an inhale. And then exhale, let the weight of your hands draw you down deeper into your fold. Release your hands. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Press down through your left leg. Lift your right knee up, coming into Vrksasana, tree pose again. Reach down with your right hand. Place that foot to the inside of your thigh, calf, or ankle. And then slightly bend your standing leg. Find balance. Gaze at one spot, not at the screen because you know what's going to happen. Just find a spot in your room. Hands to your hips. Activate your standing leg so you can have a nice, strong integration as you press the bottom of your right foot into the side of your leg. See if you can straighten your spine. Draw your shoulder heads back. Lift up nice and tall. Take another breath in. And then exhale, slowly bring your knee back forward. And then step out wide. Again, take hip circles. Woo, snap, crackle, pop. And then the opposite way. Nice. Inhale, reach your arms up. Heel toe your feet in. And then exhale, fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold, plant your hands. And step back into plank. Take a breath here. Again, you can take a connecting vinyasa with a chest opener or press straight back into downward facing dog. All right. Now make sure that you do have your strap nearby. Inhale, lift your left leg. Exhale, step your left foot forward by your left thumb. If you did so on the first time, ground your right heel down. And then inhale, rise up, Virabhadrasana 1. So pulling that right hip towards the front of your mat, keeping your right leg nice and straight. Take an inhale. Exhale, release your hands behind you, interlace. Inhale, open your chest, press your palms together. Exhale, dip down to the inside of your left knee. Take a breath in. Exhale, release your hands down. All right, both hands to the inside of that left foot. All right, we're gonna switch it up again. Okay, so what we're gonna do is work into what's called a full bind. Now, we have our handy dandy strap here. So if you want to, you can take a knee and look at the screen if a bind is something that sounds very scary and new to your yoga lexicon. So you'll take this left hand, so the inside hand, and bring it as high in up your hamstring as you can and then set it down. You'll take your right arm up, thumb turns towards the back of you, and then press the back of your hand into your low back. Maybe then with the left hand, you can reach underneath your hamstring and find your fingertips. Now, if you are trying this and your fingers are very far apart from each other and your shoulders are like, no way, man, we're not going there. Then take your strap. Again, it can be a belt, it can be a scarf. You're gonna take the strap in the upper hand. So use your left hand inside your left leg so that you've got some support. Take that strap, bring the legs of the strap behind you, and you want the palm to be facing behind you, thumb down. Then bend your hands, so again, you can press the palm of your hand against your low back, bend the front knee, and then with this left hand, find the other end of whatever you're using for a prop tonight and grab hold. All right, you got your bind. Good job. So, be it with a strap or fingertips touching, come back forward into that left leg and see if you can roll your right shoulder back. Whew. All right, this front leg is potentially getting a little hot, a little heated. I want you to gaze up at your left toes and start to walk or step your right foot forward. So I'm going to be opposite you now. Both feet are at the front of the mat. Bend your right knee a lot. Lift your left heel up, and then you can either stay here in this very pretzel-like position, all tight, working on finding your breath, and it's easy to focus on your breath because it's constricted. If you can, start to maybe lift the left leg up, press through your right leg, coming into standing. So we're moving into birds of paradise. All right, leg is hanging over that arm or the strap. Stay here, keeping a gentle bend in your standing right leg. Work your shoulders back. So we did a lot of shoulder opening. Potentially straighten that left leg. Take a breath in and out. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Slowly work your way back down. Find a forward fold at the front of your mat. Before we move on to the second side, if you do have any questions or got totally confused, feel free to come to the computer and meet yourself. Otherwise, we'll move right into the second side. Whew. All right. Nobody has any questions. Okay, good. Let's do that again. Sarva Dijbanasana, birds of paradise. Inhale, take a halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands, step back, plank. Inhale. Exhale, this time just go straight back into downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg high. Exhale, step your right foot forward into that lunge. Ground your left heel down. Inhale, reach your arms up. Virabhadrasana 1, take a breath. Exhale, release your hands down. Interlace your hands opposite, pinky on top. Inhale, breath in. And then exhale, humble warrior. Right shoulder to the inside of your right knee. And then exhale, bring both hands down. All right, finding that bind again. So either using your strap or not. You're gonna place the right hand down to the inside of your right foot. Left arm will come up and then come behind you. Maybe or maybe not, holding on to your prop. Then with that right hand, start to walk it back using your tricep, just like we did in Skandasana. You're gonna press your tricep into your hamstring, working it as high up on your leg as you can. Then reach back, finding fingertips, interlace, or finding the tail ends of that strap. Bend your front knee. See if you can spin that left shoulder head up. It is tight, it is constricted. Binds are uncomfortable. But you are fully present in the sensations of this moment. Inhale. Exhale, start to walk your left foot forward. So it can be a slow walk or it can be a big step all the way to the front of your mat. Start to pull your right heel up. So this is kind of more like a flamingo, right? At the front. Or maybe like an ostrich, head in the ground. All right. So stay here, working your shoulder into your leg, or start to press into that left leg. Begin to unfurl. Woo. Finding that balance. Gaze on one spot. Press your right hand into that leg. See if you can open your shoulders and then maybe straightening the leg, maybe not. Take a breath. One more, inhale. Exhale, slowly bend the knee, come down. Find yourself back in your forward fold. Open your feet out wide as your mat at the front. Interlace your hands at your low back. Take a breath in, bend your knees, exhale, fold. Start to lift your arms up and over, finding a nice shoulder stretch. Maybe they don't come off your low back. Maybe they come all the way overhead. Inhale and exhale. If you're by a wall, you can also face your wall and just lean forward into it. Relax your breathing. Slowly bring your hands back down to your low back and then down to the floor. Take a breath in. And then exhale, spin your toes out, heels in, slowly come down into Malasana. Toes out, heels in. Walk your arms forward. Let your chin drop to your chest. Take an inhale. Expand your upper back. Feel your shoulder blades pull away from your spine. And then exhale. One more time, inhale. And exhale, walk your hands back behind you. Slowly guide yourself down to seated. If you're using two props, then place your props underneath your knees. Send your legs out to the width of your mat and then gently lower yourself down onto the mat.
Release your arms down by your side, palms up, back of your hands resting down. Feel your shoulder heads melt down to the mat. Feel your ribs slowly rise and fall. And take an inhale and exhale. Noticing the thumping of your heart. Feeling your blood course down into your fingertips, into your toes. Feeling that energy radiate off your skin, like snow melting off of a sidewalk when the sun hits. Inhale and exhale. And inhale and exhale. Last time, inhale and exhale. When you draw your feet in, bending your knees up towards the ceiling. Press your low back into the mat. Let your knees drop to one side and then roll onto that same shoulder, coming into a fetal position. Using your hands, gently press yourself up to a seat, letting your neck stay pretty soft. And then once you find your seat, use your hands on both sides to place your head on the top of your spine. Bring your hands to both knees. Pull your chest forward. Take an inhale. And exhale. Release your hands from your knees. Bring your palms together to heart center again. Rest your thumb on your sternum. Press each finger pad into the opposite, finding Andale Mudra. Hands together at heart center. Reflect back in the last 60 minutes. Were you able to focus, to notice when you were being distracted and fading off? Maybe, especially in a balancing pose, got a little bit wobbly when you weren't fully attentive to your breath, to your physical body, to the placement of your bones and your muscle activation supporting you in that pose. Or maybe you got lost in the flow and you let yourself drift away into thought. And then maybe in those moments of stillness, you're able to find a little bit of an oasis, a restore. I hope that somewhere along the journey, you were able to find something useful so that as you move forward, you're a little bit more curious, more present in your present day activity, your current moment. Only raise your thumbs to third eye centered. Be curious. Follow your bliss. Namaste. Namaste.